Hey guys, Raging Ocean Productions here with the first commentary video on my first 3 episodes of the LEGO Superman series. For those of you who don't know, a commentary video is basically like where someone like me, the director of this, film, they basically talk about, why they did something in the movie or, what their thoughts were as they're making a character do something or, maybe some cool things about it that you didn't notice. So that's what this video is going to be about, mainly. And if you want to see the original film, it's on my channel. Just go click on the channel and it'll be down a little ways, but, you'll be able to watch the original episode. But anyways, let's get started. Yeah, I found this kind of creepy sci-fi music to put on the cover here of the words, because I thought it would be a really good choice, because it have an eerie sound about, the planet, Krypton basically being destroyed. And the picture in the background is actually an artistic picture of Krypton, or of what Krypton would look like, if it was a planet. This isn't from any official sources, I don't think. Then again, I don't remember because I made this like months ago, way back in like August, maybe? I don't know, sometime around then. But, yeah. And this is all the whole origin story of, Jor-El trying to talk to the High Council because he discovered that Krypton's going to blow up. And the High Council won't leave him, and then, creates a pod to send his son to Earth if they don't listen. The meeting is scheduled 5 hours from when Krypton will explode. And I made that so, it makes sense why. As soon as they sent him away, the planet blew up.
I highly advise you start an evacuation.
And of course here you have Jor-El talking to the Kryptonian High Council about the planet blowing up. You look up, there's many different interpretations of how Krypton actually exploded. Some say that, the red sun was overheating and was about going to blow up in the planet. But others, like the one I chose, say that, it was actually at the fault of the Kryptonians themselves, that they were mining their uranium out of their core, since Krypton has a uranium core, and that basically they mined so much of the uranium out of the planet's core that it blew up. And I chose this origin because, the red sun heating up and exploding Krypton didn't really make a lot of sense, but I figured it'd be neat if I, made the Krypton's destruction be as a result of the actions of the Kryptonians themselves, and how basically the Kryptonian High Council kind of, they didn't want to look bad, basically. Like, Jor-El's like, hey, I've discovered that the Kryptonian core is going to blow up and kill the planet, and, he's Krypton's, best scientist, and, he says, I highly advise that we evacuate the planet, and the Kryptonian High Council's like, no, we can't, because if we tell everyone that we need to evacuate the planet because we overmined the core, then it'll make us look bad. And, it could also result in more rebellions, such as, of course, I referenced Zod, because if you guys don't know about the explosion of Krypton and Zod, basically, Jor-El and Zod were, like, best friends, and when Jor-El told Zod that he discovered the planet was going to blow up and that the Kryptonian government wasn't going to do anything, Zod pretty much tried to lead a coup against them, but failed and was sent to the Phantom Zone. And then here you have Jor-El talking to his wife.
What happened, Jor-El? Did you convince the council?
No, it's
No, I did not.
Laura
The High
Lorvan.
Council would rather save
That's her
space
name.
than save our Kryptonian race.
About, how they're sending their son to Earth so that
The
he
ship
can
is prepared to
survive
take off.
the planet's
Are you sure
explosion.
about this, Jor-El? Yes,
And
I'm sure.
I don't know if you guys also know this about Superman, but basically, the reason Superman was so special was that
How do you know
he was the first natural-born
My source
son,
of research
natural-born
has determined
Kryptonian
that Earth
in
is the best place
decades,
for him.
and according to some
The yellow
comics.
sun will give
And
him
basically, what that
powers
means is that
that will make him seem
you know,
like a god to those people.
most Kryptonians were like genetically made in,
They will treat him
science
with
labs, but
respect. I have also left
you know,
message
Superman or Kal-El or Clark, he was actually, made by the natural process of reproduction. And he was the first one that was made that way,
We will always
in
be
decades. And that's why he was also special on Krypton. Of course, here you have them sending him away. And then, the planet blows up right afterwards. And the audio I used was actually from Superman Returns, of when Krypton is blowing up, if I remember correctly. That was the audio I used for this. A lot of the audio I just look up on YouTube and record it. And then, of course, you have, Kal-El's ship crashes onto the Kent farm.
I don't know,
Here.
Martha.
And
Be sure to check it out.
this is basically the basic origin story of how Superman was discovered. The Kents go out and they find a ship there, and yeah. Basically, that's what you got. And, of course, you have the rolling intro here. I'm just going to skip this real quick, just so I can continue talking about the main film itself. Alright, so then here, I included this scene about, Kal-El discovering his powers because, of course,
Are you alright?
it's a Superman origin story. And, with the Superman origin story, you need,
I don't feel so good.
you need to have when Clark discovers his powers and discovers who he really is. Because, up to this point, ever since he was a kid, he's been raised, thinking that he's a normal human, and he didn't know that he was actually an alien sent from another planet. But, in this scene, I wanted to have it where basically
Why am I not?
Clark discovers one of his powers, and it was a weird, I kind of made
What do you
the,
mean you're not normal? You're perfect.
out of the box choice of having him discover his powers of,
Coughing up ice is
No.
not normal.
freeze
Something
breath,
different about
where, he can, like, freeze people with his breath, and, he kind of, like, coughs up ice,
Everyone is unique in their own
instead of, doing, like, what the film Man of Steel did, where, they have him, where he discovers his X-ray vision first.
I think it's time to show you
But,
something.
I kind of have that, and then, of course, you have Clark, he asks his dad, and he's like, what's wrong with me, and his dad's like, there's something I need to show you,
What is
and then we come to this scene here, where they take him into, what this is supposed to be the barn on the Kent's farm,
Clark,
and basically,
one day,
he takes him in here, and he's like,
15 years ago,
oh, here,
your mother and I,
this is what we need to tell you, and this is
we
where
heard
they
something
tell
crash
Clark
in the
that
field.
he's actually an alien
When we went to go
who was
check
sent
on
to
it,
them from another planet, and, they're not his birth parents.
as a
Which,
baby,
would kind of be overwhelming if you're, like, I think 15 years old as Clark is supposed to be here, and you find out that
Mr.
your
Gon,
parents aren't your birth parents. And then here they have a hologram from Jor-El,
then
and
that
of course,
means
the Kents aren't going to know everything of where Clark's from, and, that he has
this
abilities.
spaceship on Earth.
But, they kind of watched this message from Jor-El, and I thought it'd be cool to include this. It's basically like a holographic message that Jor-El recorded before
To you,
he sent Clark away,
so
basically
that it
telling
all
him
makes
how,
sense.
his
And you
name's
will
Kal-El, he's from
Why you have found
Krypton,
this child.
he's his father, and his
In this
mother's
spaceship.
Laura Lorvan, which a lot of people
I
don't know
am
Clark's mother's
Jor-El.
name, but I actually looked it up and I
And I am a
decided to include it,
scientist
in case you didn't know.
on the planet Krypton.
And,
A few days ago,
he basically
I made a
tells him that
discovery.
they sent him to
Our
Earth
planet's
and
uranium
that
core
because it'd be
will
the
soon
best place,
explode
and basically that Earth,
because us
is,
Kryptonians have
it'll give him
overmined.
superpowers. Their yellow sun
Today,
gives
I
him
have scheduled a
powers.
meeting
And, he kind of learns a lot of this
with the
stuff here in this
Kryptonian
scene from the
High
holographic
Council
recording.
in an
And you also
effort
see in the recording that basically Jor-El tells
do
whoever
something
finds him to
to save our
raise them
race
like they were their own
from this
sons, so that,
apocalyptic
he could,
explosion.
Clark could have a good family.
If this doesn't work,
And,
our race is doomed. I
message
have
continues
made
on
this
here.
spaceship, the one that you have found Kal-El in. And I have
He's
put
still
my son
talking,
in
and
there
he's talking about everything
send him
I
to
just,
Earth
I just explained.
so that he
because I kind of just summarized the whole
from
message.
this horrible death.
But
If you are seeing
I
this,
figured I'd include this in the origin story just because
that you take my son.
you'd meet a lot more if, Clark met his birth father, and, it was his birth father
It was
who,
your own biological son,
kind of gave everything to, explained everything to him, but
and teach
that
him
he
the
was
ways
still
of
raised
people,
with the beliefs instilled in him by
that with the
the
powers
Kents, by,
that his yellow
Jonathan
son
Kent
giveth,
and Martha Kent,
you will one
who
day
are his mom and dad.
your human race.
And,
Kal-El, if you are
that'd
watching
also be
this,
kind of
I
sentimental
have a
if
message
you
from
include a
your
message
mother, Laura Lorvana, and I.
where, Jor-El's like,
We love you, son.
remember, son, I love you, and then
Remember
the
to always do.
the hologram kind of cuts out, as you'll see here in a second. And, Clark's going to kind of have to deal with this. And, now we're at the Daily Planet at the present time, which is, 6 years later.
Yes.
And, here you have Clark meeting Jimmy Olsen because it's his first day at the Daily Planet, which is also always important in an origin story.
Who's Miss Lane?
And here you have them, talking about Lois Lane, who's going to be his new partner. And of course, if you all know the basics of Superman, Superman and Lois Lane end up falling in love,
Hello, Miss Lane.
which, is a story I've kind of built on for the rest of the Superman series.
Welcome to the
They haven't gotten to a romantic relationship yet, but they are, starting to know each other and, get feelings for each other, and, they're slowly getting closer. And, if you ask me when I'm finally going to have them get romantically involved, I don't know yet. And of course, you have someone who a lot of people don't know about, which is Perry White, who is the editor-in-chief at the Daily Planet.
I'll meet you guys at the airport.
And, here also, in that scene I wanted to have, Lois be demonstrated as kind of like a obnoxious, stubborn reporter who thinks she's, all that, and she doesn't want to work with no rookie. And then here, you have Superman's first appearance in Metropolis, which is him just stopping a simple mugging,
That you drop the gun, walk away.
It's
and
just,
leave this man alone.
him stopping a simple mugging. Of course, you discover here that Superman is bulletproof because, he's trying to... You also discover that Superman is different than Batman, because, if Batman met this mugger, he'd probably just beat the crap out of him, break a few bones, and then leave. But Superman tries to talk him out of it, but the thug's not having any of it. And he tries to shoot him, and he's shocked, and then Superman just grabs his gun and just throws it on the floor.
Metropolis Police.
And then, the police come in, and they're like, what the heck is going on, This cop's just like, what the heck is happening?
Let's get rolling.
And then, of course, you have Lois Lane, and the scene was actually inspired from the Man of Tomorrow, when Lois Lane and Clark Kent, when they go and they investigate LexCorp's rocket. But instead, this is a NASA shuttle that is being piloted by Hank Henshaw. And of course, this is a cameo from Hank Henshaw. For those of you who don't know who Hank Henshaw actually is, he's a character in the Superman series. If you guys ever have watched the movie or the comics of the death of Superman and the reign of the Supermen, Hank Henshaw was actually an astronaut who, because of something that Superman did, he, his skin was deteriorating, and he got access to he injected himself with some Kryptonian DNA and cybernetics and became the cyborg Superman. So I thought it'd be cool to make a cameo for Hank Henshaw, a lesser-known character. And, of course, you have his shuttle was hit by something, which you can infer was... Which canonically, what I made in my mind, what his ship got hit by was a solar flare, which would eventually cause the deterioration of his skin, which you'd find out in episode 3. And then, of course, Superman catches the shuttle. This is his first, real public appearance in front of everyone. And he's like, thank you, sir. And he's like, call me Superman. And no need to thank me. I'm just doing my duty,
What's your name?
And, this is also a part of Hank Henshaw in, the movies and the comics. Because, Hank Henshaw is really obsessed with Superman. That's why, if you read the comics and the movies, when Superman doesn't save him and his wife, you know, he
bathroom.
gets kind of mad
Then when I got out of the
at
bathroom,
him. And, you know,
It was such a
that's why
big
he's
crowd
obsessed with, you know, trying to take him
that I
down.
couldn't get back here.
But,
So I just watched
you know,
the whole thing and wrote down everything.
again, you know, you have
from
Clark doing his classic. He leaves and then he comes back and Lois like, "Where were you, Clark?" And he's like, "Oh," he makes up excuse like, "Oh, I was just at the bathroom and I couldn't make it back in
there. Let's
time."
get back to the Daily Planet.
But, you know,
and see
he
what
ends up
Harry
writing
wants.
his own little story about Superman in coordination with Lois, of course.
It sounds awfully busy in here.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's kind of,
aren't working as hard here.
that's really the origin story of
Reporter/journalist.
how Superman made his first appearance in Metropolis in my Superman series. And that'd be a neat thing to include, you know?
Any other broadcast
Be
the
pretty
Daily Planet
pretty
has
cool.
ever made.
Really?
And, you know, I just thought it'd be a
I
nice
didn't know
little,
so many people watched it.
a nice little
Yes,
inclusion there.
Daily Planet has jumped in popularity like never before. Now, if we
And
could
of
just
course,
get
you have
the
them
name
talking
of
about their
this
story
kid
with
wonder
Perry about, you know,
with an online
Superman,
then
and, you know,
we'd be so
how, you know, they got a story on Superman, and how, you know, Daily Planets can have the scoop on the new flying Caped
it's
Wonder
a
in Metropolis.
little anecdote.
And then, you know,
really,
this also
the
leads
events
to,
that have happened today.
because of this event, you know, it, and
and
this throughout the series, it ends up sparking Lois Lane and Clark Kent
Actually
becoming
told
closer
the
together.
astronaut what his
Sheets
name
are
was
falling
when he
off
said
here.
it, and I overheard
Ends up, you know, sparking Lois Lane and Clark Kent becoming closer together, and
All right.
that's it. Yeah, I don't have much else to say this, so I'm gonna skip a bit.
Impressed, Kent.
Citizens
And then here, of course, you have you know, what would be an iconic you know, scene in every single episode of my Lego Superman series, which is Lana Lang reporting for the Metropolis News Network. And for those of you who don't know who Lana Lang is, she's actually another character from the Superman comics who actually worked for a news network in Metropolis. And she was actually a love interest for Clark Kent, another love interest besides Lois Lane. And you know, depending on what comics you read in the old, first she was a love interest for Superman, and then, you know, throughout the different iterations of Superman comics, she was a love interest. But of course, you eventually go for Lois Lane, and then, you know, they knew, her and Clark Kent knew each other from high school. But also, if you read the newer comics, you know, she's just another really good friend from high school of Clark Kent's. But of course, you know, I think in the newer comics, Clark Kent and Lana Lang actually dated in high school. But, you know, they were, like, also the bestest of friends, too. And now they're, like, really good friends when they're older. Because, you know, Superman and Clark Kent, you know, he's with Lois Lane. And, you know, you have this whole... I figure this in every Superman episode after this, you always get the scene of Lana Lang reporting the news from MNN,
News people.
which you guys can infer which TV news network spinoff I'm referring to there. But also, you know, you got the cameo of, you know, the scene of Lex Luthor, who
Why is he super
when it is end up, you know, kind of like the
and most important of all?
he's kind of like the backdrop villain of the series, you know, manipulating everything from behind the scenes and, you know, giving us criticisms on Superman, and eventually go to do stuff with that, you know, influence great attacks against Superman throughout the series.
Godlike alien to always have.
Of course, I skipped a bit farther, but, you know, you also learn in this scene, you know, why Lex Luthor hates Superman, which I thought would be a cool thing to do, because we all know that Lex Luthor is Superman's nemesis, but we don't always know why. And, you know, the main reason why is because, you know, he feels that Superman and his endless powers are a threat to humanity, and, you know, he feels like humans should be responsible for protecting themselves and not an alien. So, yeah, that's what that whole scene was about. But that's the end of it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please drop a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel, and donate to my Patreon. That's all I got for this commentary video. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. You are all absolute legends. Peace out. With this Frank Sinatra song, or the rest of it anyway.